Welcome, everybody, to the Lakers Lounge. We're live here in the Lakers Lounge. I'm Anthony Irwin. I am joined by Jacob Rude, who does Can You Dig It on Sundays with Hani Amadian. And Jacob, I'm going to start here. We are in the lounge. I don't know if you have a beverage next to you. I do. I have eggnog. Are you an eggnog guy?
Oh, hell no.
You're not an eggnog guy.
Eggnog, no. I will be. One of the things I did, I told you I was running late, might have forgot that I said I would do this. And as I was getting ready to do it, I thought, oh, this is like a requirement. You have to have alcohol in this show. And I ran into the other room.
Let's be clear before I get sued. It's not a requirement.
I would have just been bullied. It's okay. So I ran into the other room to look, and I have some like whiskey, but I don't have anything to mix it with, and I'm not that much of a man to just drink it straight. So I am going with a Golden Road Mango Cart.
Those are huge back home.
Yeah. And well, it was actually Grant Goldberg who told me about them from back in LA. So I had a couple of those in the refrigerator, so that's what we're drinking for this one.
Well, hi to you, Jacob. Hi to Alexis. Hi to everybody who are watching here, either on YouTube, on Facebook, or on Silver Screen and Roll's Twitter account. If you can follow and subscribe to those things, cool. If you're listening to this in the morning or whenever I put this up on the pod feed, thank you for listening as well. Look, we say that these are usually supposed to be roundtables. Oh, there's Aaron. These are supposed to usually be round tables, but, Jacob, you and I brought the round part. It just wasn't much of a table.
Like I have a desk. It's a round desk conversation, I guess.
We're set on round. It just wasn't much of there wasn't much of a table that everybody would be sitting around to have this chat on. There's Aaron. Aaron, we are live. We are ready to go.
Boys, let's get it.
Aaron, I want you to know, we started this conversation talking about eggnog. I know you hate eggs. Are you an eggnog person, though?
No, eggnog is disgusting.
This man gets it.
How dare you?
All right, so does it make it better or worse that I added unnamed cognac to my eggnog?
I mean, it's better that you added unnamed cognac to your eggnog, but eggnog
I just didn't know. I didn't know if it was because some people who really, really love a beverage,
right,
don't want to see it mixed, and they certainly don't want to see it mixed into something that they hate, right? So I didn't know if you would take offense to me adding unnamed cognac into my.
No, I think you should add unnamed cognac to your eggnog. Eggnog is
who drinks that shit sober? Why would you do that?
The eggnog is a Blythe upon the
city.
Upon everything. No, eggnog is horrible and disgusting. But if you're going to drink it, I encourage you to include unnamed cognac.
Yeah, I would not.
It's a Blythe. It's a Blythe under the holiday season.
Yes. Eggnog is disgusting.
Pretty sure it's
it.
pronounced blight, or plight. I don't know if I've ever heard Blythe.
Eggnog is disgusting, and stop
Blythe
it.
is a city on the 10 outside of California.
Is it?
Yeah.
With a Y and a THE?
Yeah.
How about this? Don't drink eggnog, because eggnog is disgusting. But if you're going to drink eggnog, include unnamed cognac.
All right.
And a lot of it to make it better.
Yeah, I know going into it that I'm usually in the minority when it comes to my holiday beverage of choice. I know a lot of people like cranberry cocktails. That's a festive one.
Wait, cranberry cocktails?
Yeah, it's
That's a thing?
That's like some I've been to parties where you walk in and the champagne has actual cranberries inside of it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That makes it kind of festive. That's a little too sweet for my taste, but
Jacob, is this a hostage video? What do you have behind you on the bed? I'm concerned.
That is
are there young children? What is going on? What do you have behind you? This is concerning.
No, that is I told Anthony before you got here. I forgot I said I was going to do this, so I did not clean the area out or anything. This was me.
No. I don't need you to clean it. I just need to know what is on the bed behind you.
It's just a pair of shorts.
It looks like young children's clothes.
It was just a pair of shorts. It's good. The evidence is gone. We're fine.
Okay. All right.
All right. Well, we were 5 minutes in. We have figured out that 2 of the 3 of us hates eggnog. One of the 3 of us is in a hostage video. And Aaron, look, it's really
Yeah,
dark there.
Jacob.
So I don't know what's
Jacob,
going on.
blink 3 times if you're. No, never mind. Okay.
All right. So today we have a few things that we could possibly talk about. It is a roundtable. It is a live discussion. It's a live wire. I don't know where this thing is going as it comes up. I did promise in the title that we were going to talk about Matt Ryan. Him being waived set the internet ablaze last night, I would say, for a variety of reasons.
Are we going to talk about Matt Ryan?
Well, because I think it's a launching point through which we can or by which we can talk about other stuff. So I was recording both the spaces and the lounge simultaneously as this went down last night. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know how to handle the news. I completely lost my train of thought. I didn't know where the hell everything was going. Alexis hits the nail on the head right here. I thought a trade might be coming. I thought that maybe that was the 20th game that the Lakers had played right before Matt Ryan was waived. Despite the rumors, and now it looks pretty. Pretty definitive now in terms of the reporting behind it that the Lakers are waiting until at least December 15th, and then maybe after the holidays, and then maybe after January because everybody's focused on their New Year's resolutions, and then maybe we'll get to February, and that's when a trade will happen. But yeah, I want to start here with you, Jacob. As this was happening, I know, Aaron, you were at the game, so this is why I wanted to start with Aaron or with Jacob.
Yeah, I was. Yeah,
but Jacob, where do you think the Matt Ryan, whirlwind in terms of the reaction to it came from?
It's interesting. I didn't think too much of it. I saw he was waived. I knew he was one of the few non-guaranteed contracts the Lakers had. And I mean, he wasn't really playing now that the Lakers were healthy. So it felt like a matter of when, not if, he would be waived. Timing was a little odd, especially like minutes after a game. I don't know who leaked that. That's what made it particularly odd because I think he played at the end of the game against the Pelicans. The Blazers. I didn't watch the whole game, but it was odd, the timing of it. But outside of that, I wasn't too taken aback by it just because it felt inevitable that he was going to be waived. Yeah, they could have maybe done a little bit better, and they didn't officially announce it until Thursday afternoon, and maybe ideally it wouldn't have been leaked until Thursday afternoon, but ultimately I didn't make much more of it other than that. I did think for a second that it was the precursor to a trade, but once about 20 minutes passed and there was nothing else reported, I didn't think a trade was coming. But outside of that, it didn't surprise me, and it didn't send me into a whirlwind necessarily.
Aaron, you asked in Slack why people were upset about it.
I did.
Why are you not heartbroken at the loss of the Dash Mamba? Like, why do you hate him? We already know that you hate Wenyen Gabriel. We already we're finding out.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? This is well-traversed territory, sir.
Wait, no, there are definitely people that I am not that.
I'm going to show my text, and it's every time Wenyen Gabriel makes his shot.
I'm not that fond of, but Wenyen is
yeah.
Okay.
No, every time he makes a shot or does something positive, our Silver Screen Roll Slack just goes, this fucking guy. That's basically what we get from Aaron every time he does something positive, and now apparently we're finding out that the only person you hate more than him is the Dash Mamba.
DoorDash Mamba. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're asking why
do you hate him?
No, I don't. I don't hate Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan did a handful of positive things. I don't think Matt Ryan is an NBA player, but he was a guy, and to be fair, I think this is something that speaks to the inefficiencies in roster construction. Matt Ryan is a dude that he can shoot. He can't do anything else, but he can shoot. And so I think it's fair to ask the question of the roster construction question of why
Should that guy have mattered as much as he did?
yes, somebody who can shoot. And by the way, I don't know who leaked whatever it was. Shams usually is somebody who has sources among agents, but the tweet
I don't see why.
the tweet that Shams sent out about Matt Ryan being waived mentioned his field goal percentage, which was I think like 36 or 37%, which is not so good.
Yeah.
And so
Do you think the agent was like, "Don't, no, what? Why? Whoa!"
Yeah, that would indicate that somebody wanted it to be known that the dude that was waived couldn't shoot. But Matt Ryan's a shooter,
and went into pretty, deep analysis as far as a Shams tweet will, as to why the Lakers would have done it, right? That they wanted an open roster spot in the should the opportunity present itself to make a trade. I don't think it necessarily works that way, but
I
fine.
did not know.
Okay.
I didn't know this was coming. I talked to people before the game. I did not know it was coming. But I also, to Anthony, your point earlier, I did not. I don't understand the consternation about it. It doesn't
because you hate him.
I don't hate him. I do not personally hate Matt Ryan. I do not. I think I do hate the Indianapolis Colts quarterback. I think I do hate. But
it's funny you mentioned that. Matt Ryan is actually joining us right now. Matt Ryan, former shooting guard of the
former Los Angeles Lakers shooting guard. I do not hate. But I don't understand these kind of moves happen around the NBA 100 times a season, all the time, and so I do not understand. All right, am I really going to say this? I am going to say this. Other than the fact that he's white, I don't understand the specific adulation for him. He the stories.
I think he made the biggest shot of the season.
He did not make the biggest shot of the season. He made a shot against the Pelicans that sent it to overtime.
Name a bigger shot. Find me a bigger shot hit so far this year.
He might have made the biggest shot of the season.
I was gonna say I wouldn't go that far.
Let's really do this. Let's really do this. Other than the fact that and this is true of Alex Caruso and Austin Reeves, who are Alex Caruso personally is one of my favorite guys around. Right? He, Kuz, Jared Dudley, they're probably the guys I'm closest with. But other than the fact that he's white,
Caruso or Ryan?
Both.
Wow. All right.
Matt Ryan,
I guess we're just fighting now. I guess we're just we're
No. Look, Matt Ryan's my point is this happens once or twice or three times with every team in every NBA season. Right? There are guys that are non-guaranteed or are two ways, et cetera, that get cut all the time. So I don't understand why this one's, other than the fact that he's white, I don't understand why this one specifically. And to your point, Anthony made the biggest shot of the season, I guess. I don't understand why this is the one that is causing people are upset about this one specifically.
All right. I think there's a variety of factors going on. The novelty of a decent white basketball player is one of the things, one of the factors.
Yes.
I don't think I would lump him into the Caruso discussion because Caruso started in a finals deciding game. You don't find too many white players since 1980 who have done that.
My point is, I think fans, not specifically Lakers fans, just fans in general,
Yeah, no, I mean
go ahead.
there's novelty. Like I get what you're saying, but I also think though, like I think there's a few things at play here with Matt Ryan. On top of what you mentioned, I think the other thing too is like Lakers fans are just generally pissed. I think this is the biggest factor here. Is that like Lakers fans are just generally angry at the way that the offseason went, the beginning of the season went.
But why does that relate to Matt Ryan specifically?
Because like it's kind of like when you're having a bad morning, right? And then you go through the Starbucks thing and they get your drink wrong, and that's what sets you off when you take that first sip.
Okay.
Like you've already
Okay.
like you're running late, you stubbed your toe on the bed frame, the hot water wasn't working in the shower, like everything. It was just like calamity of errors.
Bed wasn't made.
Yeah, and then you had basketball shorts lying on your bed when the live stream started, and then on top of all of that, the people there at Starbucks got your drink wrong, and when
Jacob
you first take
Jacob looks like Zangief from
Start
Street
blinking
Fighter.
We'll start blinking Morse code to see if anybody can catch on around here.
But yeah, like I think
Jacob's gonna do a spinning pile driver. Yeah, go ahead.
But why Jacob? Why wouldn't all of that other stuff lead to extra consternation over everything that the Lakers do, even if it is within the realm of ordinary? Like that. This is how this shit goes in sports. This is how it goes in life.
That's
if
fine.
everything goes wrong, that last thing that goes wrong is usually the things that set you. Literally,
no, that's fine. That is
the straw that broke the camel's back.
That is a fair conversation to have. The part that is interesting to me, or that I don't understand, is why the waiving Matt Ryan is something that has gone wrong.
I don't know if it's gone wrong.
No, but
I think
but you just said like
weird.
It's weird. It's not. No, it's not weird.
It is a little weird.
It's not weird.
All right,
it's not weird. Guys that don't like fringe rotation guys, two-way guys, non-guaranteed guys get waived all the time.
I don't think that's necessarily true as it pertains to the Lakers, right? The Lakers have finished seasons with 15 guys on their roster, and that 15th person made it all the way through the year. Difference here is that his contract wasn't guaranteed, and that usually in these kind of circumstances, especially with the Lakers, as we've seen recently, they wait for that the guarantee date, and then they'll waive the person, or they won't guarantee the contract, and then they'll open up the roster spot that way. I do think it's somewhat weird. He is a popular guy. Like Sam Quinn pointed this out on Twitter earlier today, that he might have the highest Q rating just because of like what he did relative to expectations,
Relatable.
and then he was just gone gut.
DoorDash driver turned.
Yeah, like it's a cool
He's
story. Yeah, like
He's a white guy.
Well, sure. I mean, the DoorDash guy could have been a black guy, and I think if a door like what was the
no.
Here, I have the example. The example.
Okay,
the shooter, Ingram, right? Andre Ingram, yeah. How like if after he dropped like what did he score? He scored like 35 points and had this like crazy shooting game.
He made like 4 or 5 threes in his
whatever it was.
His first game, I think it was the last game of the season. He made like 4 or 5 threes. Yes,
right. And if that season had continued and the Lakers just unceremoniously waived him in a way that had him answering about his own dismissal after a game, I do think that people would have been a little upset about that. Like, Jacob, am I? Yeah. Where do you fall on the spectrum here? Where I am a decent human being and care that this guy lost his job with 2 weeks to go on his guarantee date, and Aaron is just like, you know what? Screw this guy. Screw him and his white privilege. He shouldn't have been on the team in the first place. So, where in that spectrum do you fall, Jacob?
Certainly not on either of those extremes you just described. I am.
Come on, Zangief.
Closer to Aaron, not quite to the hate the guy and whatnot spectrum. But I do agree that this happens a lot during the NBA season. Would we feel differently if like that one shot doesn't go in against the Pelicans and like he
yes, people would feel differently. Yes.
Yeah. So like I think all of this comes down to like that one made shot, and he became like this folk hero, fan favorite, whatever it is. Like ultimately, he hadn't been playing. Like most people probably forgot he was on the roster over the last like 2 weeks. So like the fact that they're up in arms that he is cut now, like the timing wasn't great. I'll give him that. Like it was awkward a little bit that he had to answer questions about his about being released, but outside of that, I mean, I kind of would get the sentiment about like being mad about how the Lakers are doing things, but like the Lakers have been good for the last couple of weeks. Like if you're just holding general resentment about the Lakers, then like go to a therapist or something. Like this team's not been like worth getting angry about for a couple of weeks now.
All right.
I think
also like
yeah,
who are we saying is actually like Jacob, you used the phrase up in arms. Do we honestly think there are people who are actually legitimately upset about this?
Yes, that's
no way. I don't believe you.
Find
me
that
person.
Surprise. Imagine my surprise. Yes.
Find me that person. I can't think of the person.
You don't want me post. You do not want me posting the Slack.
The Slack.
No, because there were people asking like, how did this happen? People like Matt Ryan, you get cut 100 times in NBA season.
Yeah,
it happens all the time.
Yeah, although not on historically bad shooting teams that desperately need shooting. That's usually on a team that is as bad as the Lakers.
As Shams indicated, Matt Ryan shot 37% from the
Part
field.
of that is he has the greenest light I have ever seen.
Matt Ryan that probably tell you like how bad he was at everything else, that he was still was good of a shooter and still could not get on the floor on a historically bad 3-point shooting team. So like he had only played like 12 minutes since November 7th. And
it was not, there were not like a bunch of people clamoring like, oh, this dude needs to play a bunch more.
Yeah.
Fair.
Matt Ryan,
I just don't think there's a ton of people clamoring.
Matt Ryan can shoot the ball. Matt Ryan can shoot the ball. He's a shooter. He's not doing much else.
Anything else? No, I'm not. Look, I'm not even necessarily that. Like I joke about the humanity behind it and stuff, and like I do think cutting the guy 2 weeks before his guarantee date, like I think it does kind of suck just from a humanity standpoint for that guy.
Here's the issue with that. We, the universal we, the Big Lebowski we, we laid that at the feet of the Lakers. And I'm not sure that's fair.
What? No, we lay it at the foot of every employer who cuts people right before the holidays. Like every employer who fires people right before the holidays, they get a bunch of shit.
You and I talked about this
right before the holidays.
Why did the Lakers leak this? I'm not sure the Lakers leaked this.
Well, what's the impetus for like seeing as he didn't get signed? So it probably didn't come from the agent, especially given that the phrasing of it was like this guy didn't shoot and he was employed to shoot. And like like do we think like
so
I don't even know who else would
I talked to
Darvin Ham was just thrilled. I don't have to watch this guy on defense anymore. He's out of here.
I talked to people before the game yesterday, and I did not know that he was getting waived. I will be very honest, I didn't know. I don't know everything that's going to happen. I know a lot of things that are going to happen, but I don't know everything that's going to happen. I didn't know. What would be the Lakers' impetus? What would be the benefit to the Lakers to leak it to Shams that he's getting waived?
Well, what was the Lakers' benefit leaking that they were about to fire Frank Vogel minutes after the season? Like it might just be their MO. Like it might just be their modus operandi.
Yeah, but that also happened 3 months before that, and he didn't get fired.
Well, no, but I'm just saying that, like, if we're talking about just sheer impetus here, right? Look, we've seen this happen with the Lakers before, where right after a game ends, the person who is being fired, or in this case waived, has to answer questions about it. So, like, somebody there, I would imagine within the Lakers organization, has taken it upon themselves to do that. And like,
maybe. or maybe
There's a constant here.
Shams.
Woj leaked it last time, by the way.
Shams tends to his relationships tend to be with agents.
I'm also like not certain that it wasn't Frank Vogel's agent that leaked that he was fired, because it made the Lakers look a whole lot worse. And like that whole situation is like, it would make absolutely zero sense for the Lakers to leak that in any way, that Frank Vogel was going to be fired. But with like Matt Ryan, like, yeah, I don't know why.
He was the fucking 15th man that didn't play. Who cares?
We get it, Aaron. You hate the guy. Gosh.
I hate Matt Ryan. Aaron hates Matt Ryan.
I hate Stephon Diggs. He just scored another touchdown against my fantasy team. This asshole.
No, but I mean,
ooh, there was a hold.
To be fair to you, he used to be on your Minnesota Vikings, so you like. No, wait.
Yeah, no. I mean, you guys think I get upset talking about the Lakers, but the day that the Vikings let that guy go, anyway. All right, so we'll move on. This is the longest that anybody has ever spoken about Matt Ryan. And
no, it is not. He once took a bad route for DoorDash and
ruined somebody's night. Their food got there cold, and he didn't get
somebody's
a good tip.
Chicken strips were. Yeah, okay.
I
do wish Matt like all the best. It was a really cool story. No, you don't. It was a really cool story. It was fun to see somebody with that green of a light in that pure a jumper. It just sucks it didn't go in often enough for him to be employed, at least up to his employment or his guarantee date. We'll move on though.
It could be having an extra roster spot open. Could be a good
thing.
But
like this is the thing. And this is why I wanted to use it as a launch pad into some other stuff. Is that like opening up a roster spot, unless the Lakers go out and sign somebody to a 10-day, right? Like there are technically wings available. We know that they worked out Mo Harkless, among others. And we'll see if this roster spot gets used in the next 10 days 14 days between now and December 15th, when Rob Pelinka thinks that he can fairly judge the Lakers at that point. But there are ways and there are reasons to potentially open it up. One of them isn't like in trade negotiations, you can only have a trade conversation with another team if that roster spot is already open. That didn't follow at all for me. Aaron, you want to explain more of that, seeing as you have more experience on that? Because like that one, I kept seeing that the insiders were framing it that way, and I was like, it doesn't. That's not how it works.
No, I'm going to be completely honest. I think that is possibly part of it, but I think another part of it is that he wasn't playing, and if you can say
I know that's like why he didn't.
No, but
why was that brought up?
No, but because if he's not playing, and you can save money because he's not playing, you may as well. It also opens up the possibility, and you're not wrong, that you can also do this sort of thing when a trade happens, but it does open up a roster spot if you want to make an uneven trade. Yes, you're not wrong. It is, you can do that, and most teams would do that when it is, when it is actually happening. You want to make an uneven trade, but he wasn't playing, and so if you can save some money while he isn't playing, then I understand it.
Did he step on your Air Force Ones? Like, did he step on some Jordans?
No, he scuffed my shit up. Yes, he did.
All right. Now that explains it. But Jacob, like, dude,
he also wasn't playing.
I know, Aaron. Did he beat you in horse? Like, what happened? What did he do to you?
Yeah. No, he beat me twice in horse.
Is he dating your ex? Like, is there an ex involved here?
If he is, then more power to him. Then I have no issue with whatever he's doing. If he is, actually, my ex is married.
Maybe the Lakers just really.
My ex is married with a kid.
I didn't mean that ex. I meant like an ex, not that like that ex. We didn't have to kill that dart. Good Lord.
But Jacob, like, maybe he's dating Lauren. I don't know. Maybe.
Did you notice the same thing I was noticing, that like Like in these times, anytime like a collection of reports comes out and there are confirmations to the reports, and then there's like the various additions to the reporting that reporters usually add. But the fact that it kept getting echoed, that the Lakers see it as an opportunity to, in trade negotiations, have an open roster spot, like that didn't calculate in my brain. Did you take it the same way?
Yeah, I mean, there was no point keeping him on the roster. Like, if he's not playing, he's a non-guaranteed contract. I I don't know why you need to have a 15th roster spot. The Lakers have also, you said earlier that they've had a lot of seasons where they've had 15 guys throughout the season. They've also had a lot of seasons where they've only had 14 guys for a good chunk of the season, just to have an open roster spot in case something happens. They can like immediately take advantage of it. And so the Lakers, especially under Rob Pelinka, like having an open roster spot. This year, they needed Matt Ryan at the beginning of the season. I would venture to say if Dennis Schroeder didn't get hurt and there weren't some injuries at the beginning of the year, I don't know that he would have made it out of training camp. And so this felt inevitable anyway. And I mean, to me, it was just, he's not playing. He's a non-guaranteed deal. Like, just cut him now. He doesn't have to go on a road trip where he might get cut in the middle of it anyway, and he can stay in LA and he doesn't have to go to Milwaukee on Friday. Like, seems like a win-win to me.
I'd like to visit Milwaukee, the beer
It's
capital of the
really
world.
cold in the Midwest right now. You do not want to be here.
You wouldn't.
I'm wearing a hoodie too. It's like
would
30
not.
something
No,
degrees
you would
outside.
not. No,
It's
you would
ridiculous.
You would not want to do that.
All right. So I guess
I was there. No, never mind. You would not want to do that.
let's completely segue away then. It has been mentioned in the comments here by Alexis about Jovan.
Alexis is I think our best commenter.
Yeah, she's guiding the show. Shouts to Alexis.
Yeah.
But so Jovan Buha wrote for The Athletic about the three paths forward that the Lakers see right now. One being a Russell Westbrook trade, i.e. the kinds of trades that we have been talking about for what feels like 37 years. The second path forward is moving Patrick Beverley and or Kendrick Nunn and trying to get help that way by way of expiring contracts, smaller expiring contracts that teams might be more interested in. And then the last path forward here is a smaller trade using one first rounder there and then combining Russell Westbrook with another first rounder later. And he went on to add that apparently the Lakers are leaning more towards options 2 and 3 here. So yeah, I guess we're just the Miles Turner Buddy Hield thing. I know, Aaron, you can't talk about specific players, but those kinds of trades, it appears, are in the Lakers' rearview mirrors. I think this is
no. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't.
Okay.
I'm going to be careful here, but I wouldn't say that. And I have even advocated for this. I think there is value in possibly pursuing a 2 separate trade path.
path number 3.
Well, say that again.
Path number 3, moving Russell Westbrook in a first and then
yes.
first rounders for somebody else.
And part of it is because I think if you make a smaller trade, maybe a Pat Bev Nunn for a 12 to 15 to 18 million guy and possibly trade a first with that, I think there is something to be said for the fact that you can play chicken with whatever Indiana, Charlotte, whatever rumored trade packages you've heard of. I think there is maybe some value in playing chicken with them, right? Because if you do a smaller deal first, you only have either 27 or 29 to trade, and then you get to figure out, are you really about this life? Do you really are you willing to do it for one? Because that's all that there is left. So I think there is some value in possibly trying to make 2 separate trades, the Pat Bev and Nunn and 1 pick path, and then the Russ and 1 pick path separately. I think there is value in that, or there's possible value in that.
It allows you to like hedge your bets as well, and like you can do one trade on December 15th or sometime around then, and with either way, I assume it probably won't be Russ, but if you trade Pat Bev Nunn in a first around December 15th, then you get, what is it, 2 months or so to see, like, is this team really one more trade away from being a competitor? And if it is, then you look more seriously at those types of trades. If it isn't, you haven't gone all in on a team that isn't going to be a competitor anyway. That would, of those three paths, that would probably be my preferred option, is to try to turn Beverly and Nunn, who like by most advanced numbers have been two of the worst players in the NBA this season, turn them into a actual NBA player and see what the team has then, give those types of minutes to whoever it might be, and see if the team looks better at that point. And then you can kind of make a judgment call closer to the trade deadline that, is it worth trading Russ? Do we want to give up that other first round pick and really go all in, or is it better to just try to do something in the offseason, because this is another lost season, which is like the doomsday scenario, but at least in that scenario you have at least one of your first round picks in the future still.
Well, I do think like the Lakers have more for, like Darius wrote this for Silver Screen, and you know, he did make it pretty clear, and this is the reality of it. Like the Lakers will have first rounders moving forward. It's about first rounders that they control and can trade.
The Lakers will have a first round pick in 6 of the next 7 drafts.
Right.
They can't trade them all, but they will have picks in 6.
Right, and some of them are getting swapped and all of that stuff. Yes. But yeah, like this idea that the Lakers draft cachet is or cash, however you want to say it, is just empty.
Right. Oh, you had it.
Well, cachet is more for people, right? Like people have cachet, and then like a cash is like the stockpile.
I don't think
that's how I know.
I don't think that's right. I think it's the cachet for both.
I
mean, you're a journalism guy, so I'll defer to you.
Well, there, I am no journalist. I want 100% to separate myself from any and all journalism for always.
Capital J.
No, so I think here's my concern about like the idea of splitting it up and having one trade where it's Russ in a first and then Patrick Beverly and Kendrick Nunn in a first, is that like I don't think the caliber of player that you're getting for just a first actually impacts this season. I do think the caliber of player or the caliber of package that you get for 2 combined firsts can more sufficiently fill in some of the gaps that the Lakers have right now. So, and like I do understand why you guys would be reticent to go all in with just the one move, because like once you're all in and it doesn't work out, you don't have any other way out of this season.
That's it.
But like I kind of see it as like at a blackjack table, you know, if I get a double hand and I have enough to double, and it's the kind of scenario where I'm going to double, the fact that that last chip that I would be doubling with would be my last chip, that's not going to stop me from doubling if the situation calls from doubling down. And I think that's kind of the spot that the Lakers find themselves in right now, where the situation, like I guess we should have had this conversation before all of this, but do we honestly think that the Lakers are so far from title contention that Buddy Hield and Miles Turner don't move the needle, or players of that caliber, Aaron, since you can't mention those players specifically? Like, are we?
Wait.
Because I just flatly disagree with the premise.
Don't move the needle is different. So, all right. So I'm just going to give my perspective, and I've shared this with Rob, and I think he feels the same way. I personally would not trade both first round picks in any deal that doesn't. It's not about moving the needle, because that trade that you mentioned, I think it does move the needle. But I personally would not want to trade both first round picks unless I thought a deal was going to put the Lakers in contention or in the conversation with whatever you think the like front room first group of title contenders is. I personally much like last year, think that that group is the Warriors, the Bucks, and the Celtics.
Yeah.
If you want to add some other teams to that, fine. But so I personally would not want to trade both picks in anything unless it got me in the conversation with those teams. And I do not think any deal that I have seen puts the Lakers in that conversation. However, I do think that there is value in if you can make a smaller deal, not even a smaller deal, but if you can make another deal first that with one pick, with Pat Bev, none, both, and one of the picks, then I think you get to an interesting point where in all of these other rumored deals, you get to say with Indiana, with Charlotte, with whoever, like, well, we only have one pick we can trade. So are you really trying to hold out for two picks? Was that posturing? Was it negotiating? So I think the order of operation here is also important.
Not Pete. Jacob, do you think
That's a compliment.
Do you think I have
Jacob,
Pete on the mind because the Lakers just played the Pacers, and the little white point guard that the Pacers have reminds me of
McConnell.
Yeah, TJ McConnell looks a lot like Pete. If you've never seen Pete in person,
He doesn't.
He does. They're like they could be brothers. They could be like distant. Okay. Yeah. I don't know.
How much of that eggnog have you had?
He does like not. Half. He does not.
But Jacob, do you think they're that far out? Do you think they're so far out that adding the best front court player that AD will have had as a Laker and the best shooter in Lakers history
how
would not bring them? Would not put them in that conversation.
No. Say it.
Boogie?
I can't. But
as a Laker, not
okay.
Name the two guys.
Buddy and
no, I just did.
Buddy and Miles.
Yes. Do you think that makes the Lakers in the conversation with the Warriors and Bucks and Celtics?
No.
I do. I honestly do. But Jacob, you don't?
No. I think that trade makes them like a 4 seed in the West as like maybe the best case scenario. I haven't looked at the standings, but like into the season, you maybe have home court for the first round, and then I mean there's an argument to be made that like if you have LeBron and AD in a playoff series and they're both healthy, that's a pretty good combination to have, and you have some good role players around them. But I don't think this vaults them into title contention. I don't even know if it vaults them into best in the Western Conference because it feels like if you make that trade, it's a better team. It's a decent team. I still think it's a good
team. It's a good team.
Yeah, but I still think it's a team that's capped out at like the Western Conference Finals, and that's a lot to give up to be a Western Conference finalist.
I should have started with Jacob is our Indiana insider, seeing as he's actually inside Indiana. That's my bad.
You
don't know what time zone Jacob's in, so
he does not at all.
I found out today. No, I just here's the thing. The whole point of this offseason to me was to give LeBron and AD a puncher's chance at title contention. And like, do I think that I would favor the Lakers in a series against Milwaukee, Boston, or even Golden State? No. But would those fans be pretty nervous going up against LeBron and AD with competent role players for the first time in 2 years? I would probably say so. Like I would love. Maybe that's something I'll have to start canvassing. Is like, how would you feel going into a 7-game series as your roster is currently constructed? It's like the Warriors, for example. The Warriors are good, but they have major questions about their depth, and they have
the Warriors have major questions, but not in the playoffs.
Well, but I would also
because their starting five is the best 5-man group on planet Earth.
Sure, but those guys aren't playing 48 minutes. One,
but that's
and
the point.
Two,
in the playoffs, they're not playing 48 minutes, but in the playoffs, they are playing 42 minutes.
Okay, but I think the other 6 or so matter, and also like the matchup where the Lakers force like Kevon Looney onto the court, or they force, like, God Almighty, James Wiseman onto the court with the size that they have. Like, I think that matters. Like, I think I would love to see that series play out. But it won't matter because, I wrote about this for Silver Screen. I think all of the trade packages in particular that we keep talking about and the names that keep coming up, it's all a distraction from the actual message that's been sent, I think, from the front office here. Is that, like, low key, I don't think they believe in LeBron holding up for the entirety of a season. I don't think they believe in Anthony Davis keeping up this level of play for the entirety of a season. And I think that, more than whether or not they're a contender and all of that stuff, I think that's a more impactful conversation than any particular name who has come up since. Huh?
Do you?
What do I? What?
Do you believe?
I wrote that I don't think they believe in. I believe in those guys? Do I believe? Do I believe in those guys?
Not what the front office believes. Do you believe that we're going to get a LeBron and AD level of play that you can say is going to win a championship for the rest?
I don't have any other choice here. Like,
I don't
know.
No. Do you believe that?
I have to. I saw them win a championship. I saw them win a championship 2 seasons ago with a remotely competent roster.
You have to root for that. You have to root for that. Do you believe that?
I do. I honestly do.
Okay.
Because I look, Anthony Davis is playing like an MVP so far this year.
Anthony Davis has been.
If LeBron James is the second best player, if LeBron James is the second best player on your team, you're probably pretty good. If the rest of the supporting cast is okay. Sorry.
And I was gonna say, I do think that could be another reason why they're maybe looking to do a smaller trade now, because it also forces LeBron and AD to prove that they can do this for a couple more months, couple more weeks, that LeBron can stay healthy, stay on the court. Those little nagging injuries that he could shake off and play through before nag a little bit more, and they take a little bit more time to recover from, and that AD can keep playing at this level. And if that's the case, then you get to February and you can make that trade because you believe that those guys can do that. Now, that being said, I do think that I don't know that I'm as eager to believe. I think that they do kind of need to prove that to a certain extent, because while they did it in the bubble, they haven't done it since. And there's also the fact that even in that season, I mean, there was a built-in, March to August where they didn't play and could kind of reset their bodies even then a little bit. I think that they need to prove that they can be on the court for the better part of an 82-game season. I don't necessarily blame the Lakers for not believing in them. I might blame them for building a roster that relies so heavily on those two doing that, but I don't know that I blame them for having some of those reservations.
I think that's fair. I also don't think that's necessarily the deal that was struck between LeBron and AD, where it's just the front office that gets to decide when these guys are done. Like, it seems like it's a unilateral decision that's being made here, and I think that's why we're seeing some of the leaks that we're getting from Chris Haynes a few weeks ago, where he's saying that LeBron doesn't want to waste another season. And I think that's why we're getting the leaks that we got from McMenamin just a few days ago. It said that the leadership in the Lakers front in the locker room thinks that they're only a couple players away. So, like, those leaks would indicate to me that those two parties aren't on the same page. And if the reason they aren't on the same page is because the front office has decided that these guys can't hold up for the entirety of a season, then I would understand why they aren't on the same page. Like that, I think that's worthy of putting two and two together there.
Well, I would say that I really don't blame the front office here, and like I hold a lot against LeBron and AD for wanting Russ as badly as they seem to have, and now to me a lot of this is like, you made your bed, now lay in it. Like, you wanted Russ on this team, and now we got to kind of figure out how to.
That's pretty rich coming from the guy who didn't make his bed behind him.
The bed's made. The shorts were just on it. Okay, the bed was made. But I do think that
I see. Yeah, okay, all right.
it's made. There's just a pillow laying back there. It's fine.
Is
It's
that where you
99%
sleep every night? Is that
No, it's like 99%.
that's the guest? That's the guest room, right?
Sure, we can say that.
Or roommate or whatever. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure, we can say that.
Your
but
girlfriend. I don't know. Whatever. I don't. Okay.
the Lakers, I don't know. LeBron and AD, I think they've just been so like frustrating their last 2 seasons, just in terms of an inability to get on the court, that like I'm just really hesitant in general about like going all in on a season with these 2 draft picks. And what happens if LeBron strains his adductor again, or AD lands on someone's foot again? And now we're in I know that especially the AD ones were freak injuries last year, but it feels like these two in a certain sense are like cursed with some of this stuff. And like, I just really don't want to go through with this big trade on December 15th. And then on January 3rd, LeBron's out for 6 weeks and the Lakers are fighting for a play-in game again when he comes back. And so like, I do think that even if there is an element of like LeBron and AD being upset because the Lakers front office wants them to prove it, like prove it. Like AD has kind of done it this season, but like LeBron has missed a bunch of games with an injury, which I'm not faulting him for, but like that's kind of proving the front office's point.
So let's first, Jacob, let's talk about in the background you have My Pillow. Let's talk about I'm concerned with Jacob in January.
I don't think that's a My Pillow.
It's not a My Pillow. Okay.
It's just a body pillow.
Ooh, I love a good body pillow.
A body pillow is pretty glorious.
I love a good body pillow. When Jen was pregnant, I kept on stealing her body pillow.
A body pillow is pretty glorious.
Didn't buy a second one or anything like that.
It's pretty
Well,
glorious.
I would have, but she said like she didn't really use it that often, and then when she wanted to use it, I had to give it up, obviously. But
It's pretty. It's not a My Pillow January 6th. Okay.
Hell no.
I think that, like, look, Jacob, you're right about you have to figure out what you have. You have to figure out how available guys are going to be. And the worst case scenario is you make a trade for a couple picks and then LeBron or AD or both are not available. That is like the doomsday scenario. But for me, I think it's like simpler than that. Even if LeBron and AD are available, I personally do not want to give up 2 first-round draft picks in 27 and 29 unless there is a trade that is going to vault the Lakers into the conversation with whoever I have said. I think the first tier of candidates is the Warriors, the Bucks, and the Celtics. I thought that before the playoffs last year. And I personally do not want to trade both draft picks unless it gets me in that conversation. Anthony would probably say that is like reductive and
I think it's disingenuous because you put together a shit roster and now they don't want to fix the shit roster.
Okay, like fine. No, fine. And even if I
not saying you're disingenuous, I'm saying that approach is disingenuous.
Even if I agree with that and admit that and say that the roster is what it is and it was not put together. And I do believe that the roster was put together with the idea of a Russ trade to balance the roster. So assuming all that and agreeing with all that, is there a trade now? Like, I don't... There's the concept of you don't want to throw good money after bad. So even if I accept your premise, and I do, by the way, I do. And I think that this roster was constructed with a Russ trade in mind to balance it out. But that hasn't happened yet. So even accepting all of that, what is the trade now that gets you there? Do you see a trade now that gets you there?
I mean, I just said it a second ago. I do think the Miles and Buddy one does. Like
so that's fine. You and
I
I
am
disagree,
saying
but
that I
that's
do.
fine.
I'm not
You and I
saying that
disagree,
like
but that's fine.
right.
I
and
think
I'm
no,
not
I
saying that
definitely think it makes the Lakers. It makes the Lakers definitely a better team.
the West is pretty mid. Like the West
that's
has
being
not been
kind.
great this year.
No, that's
Yeah,
being
like
kind, yes.
and in the East, those teams like the Celtics and Milwaukee and maybe eventually Philadelphia and like those teams are going to beat the shit out of each other, and all the Lakers have to do is win. I think just the one series. I'm not scared of Memphis. I think Memphis is pretty fraudulent. Minnesota's going to fall off the face.
Dallas is 100% fraudulent.
Yeah, so is Phoenix. I think Phoenix is completely fraudulent. So
Again,
you only.
Why I said I think the only team you have to worry about is the Warriors in the West.
And like, I don't know. I just think.
So you think so? Let's crystallize this. You think the Indiana trade puts the Lakers in the conversation with the Warriors?
I think it does. I honestly think it does because it rounds out an identity for one thing. Like right now, what's the Lakers? the Lakers' identity is, well, we're not tall, we're not athletic, and we can't shoot. But like the identity there would at least be we are huge and we are physical and we are going back to the stuff that won us a championship only 2 seasons ago. I think that's worth gambling on.
I will say this: if the Lakers do make that trade, I think that LeBron has to go back to being a full-time point guard. And I don't know that he has it in him anymore, but I do think he has to play point guard full-time if that's the trade.
I think Reeves has shown enough ball handling chops that I think he could handle some of that. Reeves is
not a point guard.
Well, no, but I'm saying like a next, like Alex Caruso was a point guard, right? Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was a point guard. They started a point guard when LeBron was out there. So I think Reeves can fit in that role. I don't think he's as good as either of those guys, but I think he could fit into that role. Lonnie Walker, I think
that was also 2 years ago.
I think
that was 2 years ago, LeBron.
That's fine, Aaron. This is the only LeBron the Lakers have.
Yes, I know. Yes. Yes, but
and it's not like this idea that like 5 years from now there's going to be another LeBron who walks through the door after five years of ineptitude. Like that's not going to happen.
No, there will not be. But we also, I think I've said this on the show before. I used to, my brother and I used to go to Oakland A's games. We used to drive across the bridge, go to Oakland A's games when I was in high school, and on the way back we would listen to Love Lines, which was, Adam Carolla might be problematic. Dr. Drew is definitely problematic. But one thing that Dr. Drew used to say that stuck with me is you have to deal with reality on reality's terms.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is LeBron is who he is now. So we have to deal
I don't think we can fairly gauge who LeBron is on this roster because it's such a farce. It's such a bad roster.
I disagree with you. And the reason I disagree with you is because LeBron is the head of the snake. He's the alpha on every roster he's on. So whatever roster LeBron is on, we're going to see whatever LeBron thinks LeBron should be on that roster.
No matter how good AD's playing.
Or not. Right. And anybody else, correct.
Yeah. Well, and I think he's made it pretty clear he doesn't believe in this roster either. I saw how he opened up the Portland game.
Yes. Yeah, fine. No, that's fine. But my point is, I'm not sure LeBron has it to be that guy anymore. And I think LeBron, if we gave him truth serum, would tell you that.
No, I think we all know that's like he can't move laterally anymore. Like I think that matters. But again, all right. We've seen what the Lakers have been capable of with LeBron and AD. And I don't trust this front office to put together a viable product without LeBron and AD. So I would rather go all in right now while I have LeBron and AD. It's like, yeah, sure. If I have Ace King suited in Hold'em and the flop comes out and it's all garbage, that's not exactly how I would like the flop to have played out. But if I pushed in before the flop came out and I have to continue my aggression here, the Lakers made their decision. Like, yeah, Jacob made the analogy of LeBron and AD making their bed by pushing for the Russ trade. the Lakers made their bed when they welcomed LeBron in and gave him as much organizational power as they did. This is how this was always going to play out with LeBron. Like, this is how it goes. You look at every situation that he's been in. He's there for like a handful of years. He strips down the organization to best compete, and then he pieces out. That's what the Lakers signed up for, and this is just the end of it. And I don't think like drawing a line in the sand now is the right way to play this. Now that they've reached like when it starts to hurt.
But I think there is an argument to be made, and I will make it, that there's a difference between drawing a line in the sand and saying we're willing to do something here, but what we're willing to do what is available hasn't gotten to the level of we're willing to do this yet.
Right, but if what the Lakers are hoping for is some lottery ticket, like if I have a shit ton of credit card debt, the move there isn't.
Do you?
No,
just a therapy session.
Not too bad.
Should we?
Yeah.
Should we talk? Should we start talking about your credit card debt and whatever the fuck is going on behind Jacob in that bed?
Foyers aren't cheap, Aaron.
No, that's right.
But
85-inch televisions aren't either.
But like, if I have a bunch of credit card debt, the move there is to make do with what you have and try to get yourself out of that situation.
Yes.
As a process, right? It's not all going to happen at once.
Correct.
And this idea that the Lakers keep waiting for a lottery ticket to happen, like if I went to the bank and said, "Hey guys, I'm sorry, I'm going to be a little late on the mortgage. I'm a few months behind. I've been buying a shit ton of lottery tickets and it isn't working out. I'm hoping maybe just maybe the next one, maybe just maybe that next one." I don't think the bank is going to react very well to that.
Yeah.
But
you're correct.
But I think that's what the Lakers have to do here. Is I think they have to look at this as a process, and maybe that's what you guys are talking about with option number 3 being 2 smaller trades, and you make one smaller one, and you try to make do with the second one is however you can. Fine, but like I've always disagreed with Rob's assessment that it's either championship or bust, because that lets him off the hook of building an organization through the process that it takes to build a championship organization. So you can go bad season after bad season after bad season after bad season, and every bad season gets ranked the same way because it isn't a championship. But not all bad seasons, not all seasons that don't end in championships are the same. Like I would argue that the season that Memphis had 2 years ago, they probably felt pretty good about that. The year that the Warriors had the year before, they won a championship, the very first championship, right? When they traded Monte Ellis and they made some of those difficult decisions and they shifted their identity to build around Steph Curry. That wasn't easy to do. It didn't happen all at once. And they went and they won. They started a freaking dynasty. I don't think the Lakers are capable of that. But like, can we do something? Can we feel like we're building on something and not just keep recycling the Malik Monks and the Lonnie Walkers and the Troy Brown Juniors? Can we do like?
I want to hear Jacob's.
Is that
thoughts
fair?
Here, but it is fair. However, when all that you have to work with until the offseason is 2 first-round draft picks that are coveted around the league, I don't know that it's fair to say that you need to use those things for incremental improvement. I do think the Lakers need to make incremental improvement. But when you have those 2 things, and those are the 2 things, those are your 2, whatever, shotguns, those are your 2, like, real assets to use. Unless you're going to get to a place where you can really challenge for something, I don't know that those are the things you want to use to get incrementally better. I do think, to be fair to you, though, I do think the Lakers need to get incrementally better.
I don't know how else they would. Jacob, I'll give you the last kind of thought on this one. If it is another wasted season, and we get to negative. December 15th and they don't make a trade, what's that?
It's pretty negative. And by the way, you owe me a bottle of alcohol because you told me the Lakers were going to be 6-14. But go ahead.
Oh, sorry. You said they were going to win 10 games.
I did not. I did not say they were going to win any number of games.
No, you said the over/under at 8.5, and I said under.
I had a problem with you saying the Lakers could maybe win 6,
and we set the over/under at 8.5, and they won 8, and I said under, and therefore I win. So yeah, I will take that bottle of alcohol. Thank you very much.
Me alcohol. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jacob. Sorry.
But Jacob, like how do you think the Lakers as a brand takes a legit hit if they go through yet another failed season here, or do you think it's a too big to fail kind of a situation?
As long as LeBron's here, I don't think it takes a hit, because his brand is too big to fail still. It would take a pretty big hit post LeBron, but I mean, I do agree with your argument. There needs to be a level of incremental improvement at the very least. I also don't think you have to go both draft picks all in to get that level of incremental improvement either. I think you can do a smaller trade and find someone that you can keep for more than a season, and then or have some cap space, or maybe both, and head into the off season and actually be able to sign guys on not veteran minimum deals and build an actual roster, even in a scenario where they don't make a trade and whatnot. So I agree that there are ways to make incremental improvement. I just don't think it has to come at the expense of both draft picks. And so, I mean, if they miss out on another season or have another bad season, like, I don't know. My hope would be that they have done it by holding on to Russ, so that at least you can go into the offseason with at least something of a clean slate and some draft picks and some cap room and some stuff like that. It might hurt their brand, but I also, like, if the roster is that flawed and you're not certain about it, as the front office may not be, doubling down on it with those 2 draft picks could also be really bad too. So it's a tough decision that the front office has to make right now, and it's probably really hard to make 20 games into the season. That might be why they're continuing to push out these new deadlines. But I personally, I none of these deals out there right now for the two first rounders, I think, are worth doing. Even the Miles and Buddy one, that's close. It's definitely the front runner, and it's close to being good, but I can sort of understand their wait and see approach. It's a lot easier to do with Russ playing better and the Lakers winning, but yeah, I don't want to double down on a bad roster with a bad trade, and then suddenly you're in a really, really bad spot.
All seems fair. I think the truest thing that Jacob said there is that it is a difficult decision here, that has ramifications no matter how this thing plays out, and it is, at the end of the day, going to be a gamble. Like, when I say that, like, we probably don't even have to call it like trading the 27 and 29 picks. It's gambling those picks is what they would essentially be doing. They would be doubling down on this final hand of the night to see how this thing goes, and maybe they can go on a run and recollect some of the losses that they took last year and the year prior. But like you're saying, Jacob, there is a scenario here where they're sitting on 11, the dealer's sitting on 14, and you draw a 4.
You got to double on 11.
Right. Well, I agree.
You might lose. You might lose with the dealer having 14. You might lose.
I think a better analogy would be like splitting on 2 aces, right? Like you have LeBron and AD, and you're splitting on 2 aces. And at that point, like, yeah, I do think it's gambling no matter however this all plays out. For me personally, and this is just who I am as a person, and it's gotten me into quite a bit of trouble, is I would rather go out guns blazing. I would rather double down and try to win myself out of a hole. Jen doesn't love that about me, but it's worked out fairly well for me, I guess, to this point. This has been a blast, as always. These are always a blast. Thank you, Aaron, for hopping in again. Thank you, Jacob, for hopping in again, or hopping in for the first time here. Thank you, everybody who have tuned in, and for the comment section that was going off during this conversation. These are good. This is going to be a regular thing. Thursday nights, at 6 p.m. Pacific. We are going to be getting together, unless it's a game night. Obviously, that makes it a little complicated. But we are going to be getting together to have these kinds of conversations and add that to the already insane amount of content that is coming out of this Silver Screen and Roll podcast feed. So yeah, check this out. Obviously, if you listen to the audio form, check it out on YouTube. If you're checking it out on YouTube and you've liked what you've seen, subscribe on the audio form for more stuff like this. And Aaron and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. This has been the Lakers Lounge. We'll talk to you guys next week. Exactly, Aaron. Exactly. Eggnog for life.